It's finally here, one of the 7 holy grails of Pyro issues. Let's learn about Flamethrower Mojo. What is it? Why does it matter? When does it occur? And how does it happen? Check out sigsegv's video to see the technical explanation. It's super interesting. I'll try to simplify things here. Flamethrower Mojo is a phenomenon that causes the flamethrower's range to be longer than it should be, or shorter than you're used to. Here's Pyro's normal range compared to a high Mojo range. The difference is huge, so you can imagine why this matters. Good Mojo can make you get hit by flames from miles away. It alone can decide a fight because of this. It makes Pyro's primary weapon inconsistent, based entirely on your network condition. If you have a low quality or jittery connection to the server, you're gonna have some Mojo. Really, it just happens when your ping changes. As a result, usually everyone gets a little bit of Mojo. How much Mojo you have is mostly out of your hands, unless you like to torrent while you play games. So what's going on? Why does this happen? There's 2 parts at play: the flame entities, and how multiplayer games use time travel. Let's start with the flame entities. When you fire your flamethrower, you create these little invisible flame boxes. They have a mind of their own and think 66 times a second. When they think, they consider if they should change direction, if they should speed up or slow down, if they're hitting a player, and if they shouldn't be alive anymore. Yes, flames think about death all the time. They are ready to die when they're in a wall, or when they've lived long enough. Flames live for about half a second, which is about 33 thinks, since flames think 66 times a second. When you shoot fire, flames start thinking right as they come out of your head. This is when they start counting down their death. Every time they think, they get a little closer to death. Once they hit around think 33, or when they're in a wall, they die. When you shoot fire with Mojo, the flames are pretty much asleep for a time. They move in a straight line at a specific speed, not changing. Once they wake up, they count down their deaths and move around again. Since they start the death countdown further from Pyro, they live longer and go further. But why does having a jittery connection put our little flame monsters to sleep? It's quite simple. Time travel. Okay, it isn't really that simple, but don't worry. I'll try to make it easier to understand. Again, for a more technical, precise explanation, check out sigsegv's video. Here's the server, and here's you. Let's say you have 100 ping to the server. Ping is the time it takes to send information and receive some back. Let's make a timeline. We'll start at time 0 and end at 100. It doesn't really matter if the time is in seconds or milliseconds. Let's just call it time. The server sends a time update at time 0. It wants to know what you're going to be up to. But it knows that it takes 100 time to send a message and get one back, since that's your ping. So it sends you a letter asking what's up and lies. It says it's time 100, but really it's time 0 right now. Since you have 100 ping, it takes half that time to receive a message. Thus, you get the update at time 50. When your client gets the update, it thinks it's time 100. This is where the time travel comes in, because the real time is 50, but your game time is 100. So your game runs in the future to compensate for this travel time. Now that we got our letter from the server, let's respond. We're telling the server that we are sending a flame attack at the time given to us earlier, time 100. It takes 50 time to get to the server, arriving at time 100. It creates the flame entity right when it gets it, but doesn't wake it up until the time it's given, 100. In this case, everything is fine. It creates the flame, and the flame starts thinking at the same time, time 100. Multiplayer games in general have to use a bit of time travel to make things a smooth experience. Without it, your game would be very stuttery and probably not very much fun. Most of the time travel system works out well, and you're fine. But what happens when you have a jittery connection, where your ping changes in the middle of it all? Let's start over at time 0 with 100 ping. The server lies and sends us a message telling us the time is currently 100. We get it at time 50 and prepare a flame attack. But before we send it, our ping changes. Now we have 50 ping, and it only takes 25 time to send information to and from the server. We send our flame attack, and it arrives at time 75. At this time, the server creates a flame entity, but it doesn't wake it up until time 100. As a result, it floats forward, sleeping for 25 time. This is because flames start with the default speed. When the server reaches time 100, it finally wakes up the flame, and the flame starts to think. Now that it's thinking, it counts down its life, does wall and player detection, and generally starts to change its movement. As a result, the flame can live longer and go further. You made it through. I hope that wasn't too hard to understand. If it was too easy, check out sigsegv's videos and descriptions. This time travel conundrum also causes some other issues. If you have high mojo, flames don't think until they're far in front of you. If they start thinking while they're in a wall, they instantly die. This is why you sometimes cannot hit players or buildings next to walls, or while aiming at the floor. If you're not aiming at a wall, it can still hit things. The flame entity catches up on what it missed while it was asleep when it first thinks. Medic's crossbow is affected by a similar problem. Ever miss point-blank crossbows on teammates? That's time travel. Crossbows think about when they hit teammates, but with time travel, they can fall asleep too. It's pretty similar to Pyro's flames, but the crossbow doesn't catch up on what teammates it hit when it wakes up. This mojo effect can even affect soldiers, somewhat. In particular, it affects the time it takes for rockets to collide with friendly teammates. It's a very small effect, but it can make a slight difference every so often, without anyone noticing. Remember that this video was simplified. For a more detailed and precise analysis of the problem, please check out sigsegv's videos on this topic. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this can help you whether you play Pyro or not. Thanks to the community's efforts in discovering Mojo and its effects, along with sigsegv for discovering and visualizing the cause. Enjoy your day.